conversation, the 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 conversation room.
What up, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of The Conversation Room. We're back on YouTube, finally, after a long hiatus.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We do have to give credit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All thanks to the podfather.
These guys needed a lot of encouragement, a lot of pushing.
Clearly.
Yeah,
clearly, because they don't have any fire in them on their own to do this. You're welcome.
Touche. Yeah, but we're finally back. And I'm not back alone. I'm back with the co-host herself, the host with the most, Vesa.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. So today's episode, like we've already mentioned, like you can see already, we have the one and only Podfather, and we're going to talk about media, the evolution of media in the country. You know, from the radio waves all the way to the podcast now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Before we begin, we have the privilege of shooting at Shodo.
Oh yeah. How dare
The
I?
privilege. I mean, who else?
Hey.
Who else?
You guys, the pedicure I just experienced was
Yeah.
out of this world. Out of this world. Like I had an out-of-body experience with the pedicure I just had at Shodo. I feel like I'm moonwalking in my shoes right now. You know what I mean? My feet feel so smooth and soft, and it's like I was being soaked in milk and every fruit I could think of. You know what I mean? It was so.
And from someone who's from the copper belt, everybody has to be part of this pedicure. There's no shame in having a pedicure as a man.
I feel my feet feel brand new.
Yeah.
Like I'm a baby again. You know, I never touched the feet of like a 6-month-old baby. I was brand new born,
They
like,
feel renewed.
you know what I mean? Like a new baby.
They feel
That's how
renewed.
my feet feel right now. Refreshed, revitalized, brand new.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't be stepping on the floor right now. I should be walking on air. That's how I feel.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. No, shout out to Shado. You guys
Shout
should
out,
come
man.
through.
Shout out.
Get your feet down here. They have pedicures and everything you want to do.
As a girl, maintenance is here.
Yeah.
Everything from lashes to hair to body massage.
And they've got very interesting stuff as well.
Yeah.
Happy people who working with a smile all the time. Service with a smile.
Shout out to Tulani. She was just taking pictures of us right now. She's probably in the shot.
With her dimples.
Yeah. So evolution of media. My first question, I've always wondered, did you give yourself the name Podfather or it was given to you?
So here's the thing, the name Podfather. It's I think it's part of a rebrand.
Okay.
And I've noticed it sort of worked because a lot of people in Lusaka, when I post myself doing other things like DJing or emceeing at corporate events, I get a lot of comments like, oh, so podcasting has opened doors for you, like you're now discovering other things about yourself. And I'm like, no, wait a minute.
Hold on.
I've been doing these things way before that's that podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did MCing for 10 years. I just dropped it when I started podcasting. I did DJing for over 15 years. I mean, she's 15. So literally her whole life. You know what I mean?
I don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so doing all these things, and then I started podcast when I moved to Lusaka. I moved to Lusaka in August of 2021, and I started That's It podcast in November.
Wow.
3 months later, the podcast started, and I think that's what people in Lusaka got to know me by. So I sort of played into that and tapped into being a podcast.
No, it's a word.
Being a podcaster.
Okay.
And from there, people are like, we've never had podcasts in Lusaka before.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I found 50 podcasts already in operation in Lusaka. Maybe what we did was just brand ourselves in a way that we look like we were the first to ever do it. And I thought, you know what?
Well.
My favorite movie is The Godfather, and I thought, I think maybe I could
It
call
was
myself.
calculated.
Yeah, calculated move. I like that.
I could call myself the Podfather and get away with it, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think then now I think the next question now is pretty much warranted. So as the person who says is the Podfather, my question then becomes, and even just your experience in media over all these years, my question becomes, how much weight do you think media has in this country? Like, how important is it in this country? Because if you ask me, I feel the media space is not as respected as it should be. But I do believe it has the weight but then I want to hear your perspective.
It has the weight, and what I'm about to say is very debatable, but I really feel like the time is ripe and the time is right for content creators, to the extent that a lot of content creators I know, because I've got friends who are in many professions. I've got friends in many professions, lawyers, doctors, whatever. And people on social media making money is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you listen to, and no disrespect to doctors, but if you listen to, I think doctors are now more disrespected than social media celebrities, because if you look at a doctor's payslip and you look at what a content creator is making on social media, the discrepancy is so huge, it's annoying. Like the table should be turned. Content creators are making serious money. And it's the advertisers, I think, who are looking at us content creators different now and giving us a bit more respect, and it's showing in how much they're spending on us. So I wouldn't say the industry is not really recognized.
Okay.
Media right now, it's a place to be. Like even doctors, if they want to make extra buck,
Be on the
social media is a place to be.
Yeah.
Create some health podcast of some sort.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does.
So something that caught my ears when you were speaking is how you found 50 podcasts. So now tell us, the Podfather, how did you get rich? What was the secret for your reach on all the platforms, from YouTube to Facebook, even Instagram? Like, how did you get the numbers?
And it's an open secret. I call it an open secret because the information is out there, but people don't reach out to it. I'm going to ask this question. When you're on social media platforms like YouTube, what are you doing there? Are you just watching music videos?
Blogs.
Are you watching vlogs? And I ask that question because a hero of mine, one of my personal heroes, is Elon Musk, and he says he foresees a situation. It's going to take long for this to happen because of the way us human beings choose to be slow when it comes to evolving in our ways of thinking. But something he said was, in the near future, I would be happy to see universities done away with, because everything you can learn about any subject you can find on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe save for things like medicine, you really need to be in the classroom. Law, you really need to be in the classroom. Engineering, but for many things, I'll give an example. I was in university 2005, and it's common knowledge now that I dropped out.
I wonder who spread that secret.
Wonder who's 42.
Yeah. So I went to university to study business administration. I get to university, and I think the mistake, I don't know how you look at it, whether it's a mistake or a good thing. But one thing I had done before going to university was reading a lot about business and entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. And I got to university and I felt like business administration that I was studying, the CBU degree, was teaching us more to be employees than to be entrepreneurs. I went to university to be trained to be a business person. I went there, it was a mindset of, I want to learn how to get rich.
Yeah.
3 months down the line, there was no hint of this happening anyway.
There's only Maslow's law, whatnot.
6 months down the line, I said, I don't think this is helping my agenda for my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
6 months down the line, I said, I think I know what I want to do with my life, and I know what's going to make me money is in media. And I spent more time in radio stations and TV stations than I did in the classroom. I remember the course started in January. By September, October that year, I knew I was not, school wasn't meant for me. Yeah, I didn't even write, what do you call them, the sessionals?
Yeah.
The session was the final one of the year.
Yes.
I didn't write those exams. Guys, I knew I wanted to get rich, and I knew what was going to get me rich. You know what I mean?
It's good for me.
Yeah, I just said this is good for me.
Okay.
So everything you can learn, and you're talking about reach.
Yeah.
When we started That's It podcast in November 6th of 2021, I went to YouTube. It's quite a long way of answering your simple question. I went to YouTube, and I wanted to learn how people like Joe Rogan had managed to grow podcasts. People like Mike G in South Africa had managed to grow podcasts. Tom Buck in America. And I wanted to learn from them the formula for making a podcast succeed. Trust me if I tell you I spent close to 2 months, that's between September to November, just learning about podcasting. How to start a podcast, how to grow your viewership and listenership, how to get advertisers onto the podcast, how to make money off YouTube on a podcast. I studied that like I was writing a session exam. So that by the time we're starting episode 1, we already had more numbers than those who had been existing for over 2-3 years. You know what I mean?
true.
Yeah.
I just studied the market,
Yeah.
studied podcasting, and it worked for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to share those little? I know you took 2
Study
months,
the market.
but
I'll tell you.
just for us, though, we're gonna get keep.
If I can tell you one thing that really worked for us, have good quality from day one. But the most important bit is consistency. One thing I learned from other podcasts already existing in this country was they would post one this Tuesday, then after 2 months they record another episode,
Yeah.
then after a month, then after
I
2
feel like
months.
he's talking
I
about
know
that.
it's like shooting things like bullets.
Like it's
to
talking
If the
about
shoe
that.
fits, if the shoe
Wear
fits,
it.
if the shoe fits, wear it.
Yeah.
So for us, it was, guys, what I've learned from podcasters who've succeeded is if they say they're gonna post on Tuesday at 15 hours every week, do it Tuesday 15 hours every week, which is why you find we are one of the few podcasts that when we post on Tuesday and we say premiere, 300 people watching,
Yeah.
sometimes 2,000-3,000. We're still growing as well, you know what I mean? But we have people waiting
Yeah.
because they know Tuesday 15 hours is going to be there, the consistency. And what that does for you as well, you start building a community around your podcast. You start having people knowing each other from the podcast. They
Yeah.
start becoming family. Next thing, you're communicating outside the podcast. So you build a community with consistency. Consistency is P1 for me.
Got it.
Okay. He's
hope
dropping
we're learning.
gems. He's dropping gems. No, I'm learning. I don't know about you. I'm definitely learning. I'd also like to ask, there's a common debate, because as .coms, we don't read newspapers. I mean, I for one don't read newspapers.
I don't read newspapers.
So the question now that's there is, do you think we'll get to a point in this country where we won't read newspapers, we'll have no use for things like radio? So being somebody who's an owner of a radio station,
Right.
do you think we'll get to that point?
I think we will.
Okay.
I think we will because, I mean, you see how. I was in a very interesting meeting earlier this year in South Africa. That was in February 2nd. I remember the date was, I think, February 2nd. I will not mention the company. Maybe they will have this information out there. Are we still recording? Still going?
Yeah.
Then I don't know if they've given this information out publicly, but let's say it's a dark colored drink and they sort of set the pace and the tone and they have sort of set the standard for global advertising.
Okay.
We
Got
know
it.
the drink.
Yeah.
If you know it, you know it.
So we were in this meeting and I actually went to look for business for radio. As you know, I own a radio station, right? So I went looking for business for radio. And in this meeting, we even closed off the meeting, closed our briefcases, laptop bags, and
Did you think you got it?
no, they told me outright, like,
Nah.
we'll tell you what, as a global brand, we've sat down and said from 2024, going forward in perpetuity, we're never going to do TV and radio because we feel those mediums are dying. Now, if that big company can say this, it shook me in my shoes. I said, wow, this is a major eye-opener. I said, our company, and this directive came from the US. No more radio, no more TV, no more newspapers. Online media only. So that saying that, we're walking out of the room, and I'm like, wait. We've got a podcast, by the way. They're like, okay, sit down. Tell us more about this podcast. And lo and behold, my laptop was there, my MacBook opened it. Those are the numbers. Those are the viewership. That's the viewership we get per week. This is our social media, blah, blah, blah. They said, oh,
Now you're
we'll call you in 7 days. 7 days they called. Okay. I'm sure you saw the announcement somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came to advertise on the podcast. Imagine they chose a podcast over any radio and TV station in this country.
Oh.
That should tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm of the same opinion. We are slowly moving away from terrestrial platforms like analog TV, radio, to Showmax.
Yeah.
The Premier League is not even showing on a TV. They only have it on mobile devices.
Yeah.
I should tell you something.
No, then the rumors are true.
Yeah.
They are definitely dying. These older modes of
Yeah.
passing out information are definitely dying.
Newspapers are on
Okay.
their last leg, man.
Newspapers definitely, because I've
Newspapers
forgotten
are
the
the
last time I bought a newspaper.
Now newspapers are online, so why are you even buying?
Yeah, we actually have.
I mean, we knew GBM was given 5 years. The moment he was given 5
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
Before the
newspapers only
newspaper
had to wait till the following morning to print
Put
it.
it out, yeah.
We already knew what the story was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's definitely true. It's definitely true.
Radio may take longer though.
Really?
Think so?
Yeah.
Is
I
it
think-
because of rural areas?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Radio is a stubborn one. It's gonna take a little longer, eh?
I think also
People
it's,
still listen to radio. I mean,
I
if you
think it's
listen
also the quickness of it. Like
radio is trying to keep up with social media, real
Yeah.
time, and they can
Yeah.
also pick up from social media and also disseminate.
Put it there, yeah.
Because they've realized time is. People can pick up information quicker on social. So as soon as we get on the socials, radio gets on the socials. They can also give it to you as you drive, you listen to the news and whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
radio can last a little longer.
But Apple is not trying to get the radio agenda because there's no radio on an Apple phone.
Hey,
No, but Samsung also has started getting, like, you actually have to download the app.
that's
For
a
radio.
different kettle of fish. Apple. One app you find there before any Apple podcast.
Yes, that's
Apple
true.
iTunes. so.
Yeah, definitely. So how would you describe your development, like your transition from radio all the way into podcast?
Easy. Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Really? It was
Yeah.
natural? It came natural?
Yeah, actually, the week that the podcast started in, I was offered a job at one of the biggest radio stations in the country.
Really?
Yeah, which was very good pay. And then I go to a podcast that, for close to a year, was not making any money. And I think if anyone was listening into that conversation, they would have said I was insane because you're being offered big money here, but you go to something that's consuming your money. Because
Yeah.
podcasts in their infancy, you have to keep paying the crews, and you guys at least.
Don't put us on the spot.
I will not mention what equipment you're using.
Yeah, and the people behind the
I
camera.
will not mention the Samsung phone
You did
and the
just-
ghost behind it.
Nah,
Yeah, so-
definitely. I hear you.
Yeah, so I wanted to be on a microphone, but
Yeah.
not on radio because I probably would have killed my brand and just gotten lost into oblivion. I feel that was my opinion. I'm not insulting anyone, but yeah, I turned down the job at Radio Phoenix
I hear you.
to start podcasting.
So was it more of like a entrepreneurial decision, or was it like you saw the future? You're
Or like were you
radio is
bored?
not the way.
Yeah.
Like I said, the research. I did a lot of reading, and I was watching how other podcasts in other countries were growing, and I thought to myself, I think I want to jump on that bandwagon. You know what I mean? Who said? Andrew Carnegie. Remember Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest people America ever had? He said,
Do you remember him? Oh, I don't know him.
Read, my friend.
Yeah, he's a steel magnate. Yeah. He spoke, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but something to the effect of, when a trend is starting and it's getting bigger, jump on it. You know what I mean? Jump on it and see how you can work within that space. And I saw podcasting growing in America, it's growing in South Africa. It wasn't growing in Zambia, but I thought
It's a
I
trend.
could be one of the people to.
That helps it grow.
Yeah, so the transition for me was easy. I mean, coming from radio and having a microphone,
What challenges did you face though?
money.
Maria?
Because I wanted something that was, for me, the slogan is always, I don't just set goals, I want to set the standard. You know what I mean? So even coming into that space, I wanted a podcast. I was, okay, somebody's finally doing it right in Zambia, because I had seen a lot, sound was terrible, or video was terrible, and I was still very new in Lusaka, so I looked for a team that was the best at what they did, the best sound engineer to do audio for us.
Is
the
that
best.
Gob?
Gob joined us recently. Gob is a very new guy. We had a great sound engineer guy who had done songs for some of the biggest artists in this country. He was with us for a lot of episodes, maybe 40 or 50.
Oh.
Yeah. Videographer, we had Lloyd Cabovelo. I don't know if you know Cabovelo.
Yeah.
Gob, Lloyd was doing our videos. So we came in with that. I said, guys, and we had a big team. First mistake I made. Why have a big team? In my
you
mind,
as well.
yeah. I mean, you guys are, you know, when you're the first to do something,
Yeah.
at least you leave a trail for others to follow. And you guys can now follow us behind and don't make the same mistakes. So coming with a big team, and this team wanted to be paid after every episode. So it was like almost 8 to 10,000 kwacha every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. Until I'm like,
Hold on.
wait a minute, I don't need you. Fired. I can write my own script. I don't need you. Fired. I can record my own audio. I don't need you. Fired. You know what I mean? It's like that until we streamlined to just go.
Oh.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Right now we just have one guy. We had close to 8 people when we started.
Wow.
So one of the challenges was that, and sourcing guests. But I think as the podcast got more popular, they started, softening up and
Coming through.
and coming through willingly. Yeah,
Okay.
that was one of, I think, the top 2 challenges we had. Yeah, financing and guests being reluctant to come through.
So the financing was at the beginning, eh?
Yeah, I spent quite a bit in stuff.
How's it now? How's the check
Now it's
looking?
paying you.
I shall say we recouped the investment
Made back the money and some.
and then some. Yeah, and then some.
So for me who's joining YouTube for the first time, is it a sustainable path, like podcasting? Like, should I drop out of school?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Your mother will call you.
Yeah.
After this.
Dropping out of school. It sounds very romantic, very
Ambitious.
Dreamy.
Yes.
dreamy.
Yeah.
It's not, man. Like, guys, I know I'm enjoying quite a good life right now. I live in a good neighborhood. My kids are in very good schools. I drive a relatively good car, I think. I like to think.
Yeah.
I need a better one, though. So
Have
I'm
an
working
Apple
hard.
Watch.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, life may be soft right now, but the hardships I've been through are. I wouldn't want to wish someone, any human being right now. If I have any advice for you, finish your school, gain some experience in the marketplace, work for somebody, learn something from them, and then go after what you really want to do afterwards. Yeah, learn from the marketplace.
The blueprint.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I went through, dude, guys, I've been through what the Americans would call homelessness. Yeah, really? Yeah. 2018, 2019, just recently. I couldn't even afford a loaf of bread, my guy. Wow. Yeah. Had to move my wife and 2 kids back to my mom's house, living in a dining room for a full year. Yeah. Couldn't afford rent, couldn't afford food. Just terrible. Just terrible. And there's nothing as emasculating for a man as when you can't afford stuff for your family. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've been through hell and back. Yeah.
I think that's one thing most people don't highlight.
The failures,
when we talk about the parts that are highly rewarding in the end, we don't really focus on what the journey entails. Like, what do you go through to get to that point?
Yeah.
And so you talking about this is kind of just painting the picture that even as much as you're thinking about that dreamy life of just being a podcaster or making money off YouTube, there's the ugly part.
Yeah.
There's the part where you have to get your hands dirty, and that's not necessarily always.
People never show you the struggles.
Yeah.
But what I did, and I don't know if I'm going to put this in a book or a documentary, I'm a firm believer, like I'm a very spiritual being, and I'm a firm believer in the power of the spoken word.
Okay.
Even when I was going through those hardships, I kept speaking positive about my life. I kept speaking what I wanted to see in my life. To the point where much of what I'm living today, I spoke about a few years ago. Because I believed I was going to achieve everything I ever dreamed, I took photos of the struggles.
Oh.
I've got photos of the dining room my mom put us in because my mom lives, it's a big house, but there's other people living in it. There's relatives living in there right now. So we lived in a space like that corner there. That's why we brought our furniture, our bed, stove there, everything in a corner. You know what I mean? So I took photos of my walk to town because I didn't have a car. You know what I mean? Me on a bus, which I never want to get on again. So I drive myself everywhere. You know what I mean? All those struggles, hustling on the streets, trying to put a bit of money together for bread. I took a lot of photos, man. Because I knew like one day I'm going to look back and I hope it inspires someone to not give up.
You should do a documentary.
I think I should, yeah.
KPLUS said it here.
You go to the FS.
Exclusive.
Yeah,
documentary.
I think I should, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Any other?
So you mentioned that in the beginning it was rough, right?
Yeah.
But does it get sustainable? Is it a sustainable
Yeah,
career
let's talk
path?
about the money. Money
If you
wise.
get... man, there's topics in this country that people find uncomfortable to discuss. Like I said, I'm a firm believer in a lot of spiritual things. And I'm not talking about witchcraft or... You know what I mean? Like even when That's It podcast was starting, I'll give you... I'm an open book. I will sit in a tub of hot water and just... You know, everything you're living today, you've prophesied about your life. You know that. The life you're living today is no accident. Whatever you're experiencing right now, whatever Tulani is experiencing right now, we've all spoken without even realizing it. Subconsciously, we are living out what we've spoken about our lives. You know what I mean? The day that podcast was starting on November 6, 2021, I said, this is going to be the biggest podcast in Zambia. This is going to be the most profitable podcast in Zambia. This podcast is going to make me rich. It's going to connect me to people who are going to change my life. This podcast is going to open doors for me. This podcast is going to sustain my life and everybody around me. This podcast is going to this and this and this. And you know one thing we don't realize, and this is one thing that's consistent in every religion on the planet, whether it's witchcraft or Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, one thing is consistent, and you will find this in every religion. Even when a witch doctor is casting a spell on you, what do? It's chance, right? Yeah. They're speaking things about Besa, this, Besa, that, Besa, this, Besa, that. They're trying to curse you.
Yeah.
Only the word can do that. You know what I mean? They speak what they want to see in your life. And of course, whatever other spirits they call upon to help them, but that cannot happen without them speaking it. You know what I mean? And the books I've read in the recent past have taught me so much to speak that which I want to see in my life. So I'll sit in the top there just speaking everything I want to say about the podcast. Everything. Just sit down and just speak it into existence. I want it to be this. It's going to be the biggest. It's going to be the best quality sound, best quality video, best this, best that. When I need a co-host, I'm going to find one who's going to help in my agenda and growing the podcast and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, Komba calls me, and that's how I met Elson. Yeah. Guys, everything, like I said, the biggest advertisers in this country will come to us. And when we started, because of the way the podcast was flowing, we had a lot of negative lashback.
Yeah.
People would tell us because of the language, advertisers will never come and blah, blah, blah. And they just started coming one by one. And I said, guys, if you know what spiritual power I have, you would give up that because you just get yourself tired and stuff. And everything I see today, I mean, Trade Kings Big Tree, which is the same family as Trade Kings, coming on the podcast, and they come on and they say, we like the numbers you guys are doing, we like what you're doing for this country in terms of entertainment. We don't want to come for just 2 episodes. Here's a contract, sign 1 year. Whoa, no one has ever done this for us. But then I remembered, I'm like, I spoke about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, guys, the Bible is not a book just for Christians. It's a book designed for humanity. And everything in that book was designed for us that if we apply, we shall reap the fruits of that application. It's simple. Whether you're a Satanist, a Buddhist, a Muslim, when you give, you shall receive. That's in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
When you speak that which you want to see, you've prophesied. It just has to happen. That's in the Bible, right? I just apply that. Whether you're Christian or not, best believe those things work.
That's powerful. I don't know if you were hearing Bukatandai's conversation. So I am someone who self-sabotages a lot. Like if there are titles on my head, I'm not going to put them out because I am so afraid of failure. Like, so in the space that you were in that tab and you were saying all these things, wasn't there like a thought process like, how am I even going to do this? Where am I going to start from?
I'll go back to the Bible. Guys, I'm not a staunch Christian like Tulani or I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is I haven't been to church in a very long time, but I believe whatever's in the Bible is for every human being. Whether you go to church every Sunday, you pray every day, whatever's in the Bible is for every human being. And when I read through that book, I apply certain things. And you will find in the book of Proverbs chapter 3, there's my favorite verse. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. For me, the key thing there is do not trust in your own understanding. The how, that's none of my business. I've believed, guys, for big things like when I was living in that dining room at my mom's house, broke as hell. That was January of 2018. By June of 2019, I was the owner of a radio station, the biggest in Muchinga province.
Wow.
I had no money to owning a radio station. Why?
Sounds like magic.
God says, all you have to believe. What's that Bible verse again? Mark 11:24. I'm doing sound like a pastor.
Don't say preach. Preach, sir. I swear.
Mark 11:24 says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you already have it, and you will have it. Guys, there's nowhere in that verse where it says I have to work really hard or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The key word there is believe that you will have it, and you will have it.
That's so powerful.
Jesus himself uttered those words in Mark 11:24. When I read those words, I said, damn, I'm a radio station owner, and this station is going to be the biggest in Muchinga province. It's going to make me rich. I don't need to worry about how. Why am I going to sabotage? He himself said, just believe that it's yours. And this is how I attract things into my life.
Yeah.
When I ask for something, I start acting like I already have it. Because the Bible says, believe you already have it, and it shall be yours. I started calling myself a radio station owner. Check my Facebook page from 2018. You'll see those notes.
Wow.
Yeah. Just start acting it.
I like the line that you're going through because the conversation room is a faith-based platform. So
I could feel it in the spirit.
trust me, you're being in the right line.
Serious, huh?
And we did tell you. Oh my gosh. That's so powerful.
So
and
now,
so profound.
some of the things I own today have actually been my screensaver. That's how I work on things to keep it top of mind. When I really want something, I make it my phone screensaver so that when I look at it, I keep believing it. I never ask how I'm going to achieve it. Trust me, almost everything I've ever put on my phone screensaver, I own. You know what I mean?
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
Yeah.
there.
I've put radio licenses there. I've put podcasts there. Start living it. When you ask for these things, start preparing for it. That's how I think God works with faith.
Yeah.
And remember, the only verse in the Bible that says it pleases God is when you hear about application of faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, if I'm believing for a car, I'll start cleaning the garage. I'm that kind of guy. Start cleaning the garage, start finding out where to service. If I'm buying a Land Cruiser, where do they service Land Cruisers from? I start getting those guys' numbers in advance. You know what I mean? I start looking at tires, which tires look good on my Land Cruiser when it arrives, and things like that. I'm that kind of guy.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What's up. That's really encouraging.
You have no idea.
That's really encouraging. That's really
Guys,
encouraging.
the law of attraction is real.
Yeah. Any last questions before we do the game?
I'm not doing any game.
No.
I need to go.
No, listen.
No, we're making you. In fact, let's just do that. Let's make.
I need to
In
go.
fact, right now. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
that's the last
So we
part
want
of
you to be the game master.
No, I'm not.
it. No?
No.
Okay.
What time is it?
17:22.
Okay.
Are we leaving now?
Tulani, you
I'm here for a long time.
Okay. No.
Okay, wait for me. So,
Okay.
5 minutes? We give them 5 minutes?
Okay, 5 is cool. 5 is cool. 5 is cool.
So you can play the game?
No, 5 is cool. Like if you had to, as the pod fan, if you had to like just leave like these are like the last words. Like when they say no, these are the last words that KPLUS left us with concerning just life and podcasting. What would you have to say?
Have faith.
Oh,
2 words. Have faith.
okay.
The strongest force on this planet, I believe, faith. Yeah, I've got so much faith. I think the only thing left is to walk on water.
I like that.
I tell you.
That's a mic drop moment.
Yeah,
After
I think
saying
we
that, you
should
should have got up and walked. That's definitely a mic drop moment. Yeah, no, I think it's been a lovely episode.
Thank you so much.
It's been very packed. It's been nice. Conversation has been flowing, you know.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for cutting time from your busy schedule to sit down.
We've been planning this for what, a month now? Postpone.
We are finally here.
I'm so glad, but we'll still keep in contact, just saying.
Yeah. Otherwise, guys, thank you for watching the episode. I've been your host, Mukata Sonda.
And I have been your host as well, Vesa Nakazo, and we have been having the Podfather
himself. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, guys. Please share the video, like, drop something in the comment section. See you next time. Peace.